Good morning,
You're on
Manny.
the roast.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Hey, you know what? I love this thing with Chase Young. I love him as a rookie, and I love him on paper, and I love him on Madden. But you know what? That's not where we play the game. I recall back when the Niners last won the Super Bowl, they brought in tons of defensive end help. They brought in Tim Harris. They brought in Ricky Jackson. They brought in Chris Dolman. But you know what?
Charles Mann as well.
Right. For a GM that used to play in the secondary and knows how important that position is in having a Super Bowl roster, man, the faith that he has, the guys that we have in the secondary with Ward and Hufanga, who are sketch at best, and Commodore 64, that's not a Super Bowl roster secondary. We needed a Russell Douglas. We needed Jaylon Johnson. Hell, even, I'm going to remain on the fringe with Chase right now. What I would love more than anything else is if he comes in and he out-hustles Bosa play in and play out throughout the rest of the season. That's all I got, fellas. You guys have a good day, man.
Good call, Manny. Good call. I like Manny on the Dunbar Bridge. Comes in with some nice takes. I like it. Steve Wilks. I see a lot of, no more excuses for Steve Wilks. Well, I look at the players. There's no more excuses for you. No more excuses for you. Now, a lot has been made about Steve Wilks' scheme. I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't know. But I'm going to try to listen to the experts. And one expert is Richard Sherman. And he knows his defense, and he knows his personnel, and he knows how Shanahan wants things run. Here's what Richard Sherman had to say about Steve Wilks and his defensive concept so far this season.
If you were called upon to be the defensive coordinator for this team, what adjustments would you make tomorrow?
We're going back to the fundamentals. We're going back to the things we do well. We're not running man on first and second down like they've been doing. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think they're sound. We're going to mix it up. We're going to play fast. Our D-line's going to have to get hot like they've been doing. And for you to take them out of that, for you to sit there and run games and stunts and do all these other things instead of just ears back, go get to the quarterback like these guys have specialized in for the last, 3-4 years is weird. It's weird, and I think Kyle Shanahan has had enough. I think this is the straw that's going to break the camel's back. There's going to be changes next week.
It's going to be changes in what aspect? Play calls? It's going to be changes in terms of coaching? Is he going to come down from the booth to the field? Now, Baldy debunked all that. He said, come on, man. Whether it's the field or the booth, call the damn play. Dan Quinn calls the defense from the booth. And Dallas is humming right now. They get a turnover every single week, except when they play the 49ers. So that whole thing about coming down on the field, calling the plays on the sideline, even Crocker, I was following Croc yesterday. Croc time was like, man, that don't mean anything. He goes, Shanahan's on the field and they're only scored 17 points a game the last 3 weeks. So what difference did that have to make?
Well, I would say that, in the last game, for example, they couldn't get a stop in the first half, and they got very lucky that they didn't score more points, Cincinnati, because they fumbled right before halftime, ready to punch one in.
So let me ask you, would you have liked them to blitz more in the first half? Because we made so much of the blitz before halftime, which is a bad blitz.
It's not the blitzing. I feel like right now, what it feels like to me, and again, I didn't play in the NFL. I don't play corner. I don't understand comprehensive, deep coverages. It just feels like we're playing off guys, and quarterbacks are getting rid of the ball very quickly against us. This is just what my naked eye is telling me, right? And it feels like we're not tackling in space very well, and we're giving way too much cushion in certain situations, whether that be because we're playing man and guys don't trust playing up on guys because they don't want to get beat over the top, or we're just by design laying off people. I would like to see us play up a little more, not give so much cushion. They adjusted against the Rams, and it was like night and day between first half and second half. It just feels like right now the DBs are playing way off anyone. And you saw it in the first half on the one play where Burrow goes to a shotgun, and then he calls an audible at the line, points over to Jamar Chase, and I don't know who it was, Diamonor or Charvarius, is so far off him. He just one step, boom. It wasn't even a three-step. He just took a hike, boom, and just threw it out to him, and it was like automatic first down.
My counter to that, though, would you want these corners bump and running Jamar Chase and T.
No,
Higgins.
but when they know that they have help over the
Right.
top, or they know that they're dropping into a
Right.
zone, like you can
There's
do
gotta
a
be a
variety
zone.
of things when you know you have people around them. So I don't know what's going
Burrow-
on in terms of that, but B, it does feel like we're playing off of everyone.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll say this because I saw some.
I
bump
don't
and
love
run.
our corners.
I saw some bump and run at times against Cincinnati. Look, Joe Burrow's going to kill your zone. The great quarterbacks slice up zone defense.
Purdy kill zone.
Slices up your zone. Now, do you play up on these guys? I'm not sure I want to play bumper run coverage on Jamar Chase. You'll get beat deep. I'm not sure I want to play bumper run coverage on T. Higgins. You will get beat deep. The problem is, you know how many tackles they missed on Sunday?
Yeah.
They missed 13 tackles. That's about 33 to 34 missed tackles the last 3 weeks when you think about Cleveland, Minnesota, and Cincinnati. So they're not tackling well.
Well, they're not gang tackling either. Well,
They're not tackling well, period. Gang tackling individually, collectively, they're not playing great team defense, and they're missing a lot of tackles. And so when you miss tackles, these 4-yard gains are becoming 7-yard gains. These 7-yard gains are becoming 10-yard gains. All of a sudden, you're going from 2nd and 7 to 2nd and 3. You're going from 3rd and 5 to 3rd and 1. That's not good football. That's not good team defense. So Steve Wilks can't tackle for you. Somebody's got to learn how to tackle. And the Niners, that's the most disappointing aspect of defense. The last 4 years, they've been one of the best tackling teams in all of football. I go back to Emmanuel Mosley tackling Cooper Kupp at the L.A. Memorial Coliseum and dipping him on his neck. I was like, wow, this team really tackles. They're not tackling well the last 3 weeks. That's not a Steve Wilks problem. That's a player problem.
well, I mean, I told you a couple weeks ago that I didn't think Talanoa Hufanga's having a great year, and neither is Gibson. They've missed a lot of tackles, the two of them. And, Jimmy Ward, although Isaiah Oliver actually made a couple of plays in the game over the weekend, like Jimmy Ward was an enforcer. He took away a lot of tight ends, and when he got pushed to the slot because they let K'Wan Williams go, he held his own. He wasn't great, but he held his own. I think losing K'Wan Williams and then losing Jimmy Ward in consecutive seasons, you're starting to see the effects of it. And then I don't know what's going on with Charvarius Ward. Like right now, Charvarius Ward, he's just grabbing and holding, and he can't be relied upon. I don't know what's going on there.
Which is
That, to
crazy
me, is
because-
one of the more disappointing things.
Well, it's crazy because you could say Wilks isn't putting them in position to make tackles. They are in position to make tackles.
oh, he's tackling guys before the ball's coming.
like
That's why the laundry's on the fleet.
stop. Well, Charvarius Ward, and that's what's crazy. Wilks is a DB guy, and the DBs are playing. The corners at least are playing terrible. Last week, Hufanga was not good.
No.
Last week that was one of the worst
I
games
like
I've seen
him.
him play. I think overall this season he's been solid, not great, solid. Gibson, solid. But Charvarius Ward, man, oh my Lord, they're throwing at him, not Deommodore Lenoir. Deommodore Lenoir is playing some very good football. They're picking on number 7.
I would like to see the Penn State safety out there in certain packages just to kind of get a feel. He's played special teams. He's a 3rd-round pick. He was highly sought after. I don't know. I'd like to get a look at him. It's just, if you're looking for secondary help, is it Luter or Sammy Womack maybe get elevated and see some playing time?
Well, I think
you
been hurt.
might have to just see what you got.
Womack's been hurt. Maybe they got to go back to zone, but I saw some zone against the L.A. Rams at SoFi Stadium, and they picked that apart. So they're picking apart everything. Why are they picking apart everything, these quarterbacks? Because the front four is not getting home. It all starts up front. And up front, they're not playing well. So that's why you bring in Chase Young, and we'll see what Chase Young can do. Let's go to Jay Voltron in Oakland. What's happening? Or Jay in Florida. What's happening?
Hey, what's going on, you guys?
What's up, baby?
So I feel with our defensive line right now, what John Lynch is doing is he's at the blackjack table with 17 and saying, hit me. He's just trying to get it together no matter what it takes. The thing that I'm a little bit afraid of, and then first of all, I give the grade an A for 2 reasons with Chase Young. One reason that we didn't mortgage the future, we have still another 3rd-round pick, so I like that. The second, as far as that, the thing I'll just go into that I'm a little bit worried about, what you guys are saying with the corners, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, because if the corners are playing so far back, these quarterbacks are getting out of their hands so quickly. So is Chase going to make a difference for that reason? Do the corners need to play press coverage?
I think they got to mix it up, man.
Yeah,
you got to play to your strengths. Maybe you play the press bell. like Richard Sherman, where you come up and you're looking like you're bumping and running. As soon as that ball's hiked, you bail out and you drop back into a zone. Maybe that's what you do. Maybe that's what you do. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it's not working. All right?
Who do you trust in terms of cornerbacks right now?
Deommodore Lenoir.
Is that just because he hasn't been targeted as much as Trevor is?
He's been targeted.
And
He's playing some very good football.
You think he is?
Very good. Oh, absolutely.
I trust you on that.
Sticky coverage. I think Deommodore Lenoir has stepped up. He's, Tracy Sandler a couple of weeks ago from the Fangirl Sports Network, she brought it up right away. And I was like, you know what? She's right. This guy's playing well. Now, could Charvarius Ward play press? Remember last year he was playing press on DK Metcalf Thursday Night Football in Seattle and did a hell of a job and shadowed him, actually. I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if a groin injury's lingering.
Well, he had to heal.
I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah.
And then now Isaiah Oliver just cannot handle speed in the slot. It's just so obvious. It's so obvious. He cannot handle speed in the slot. So maybe you get Sammy Womack the third. Maybe what's an update on Sammy Womack? I've heard nothing about him.
Well,
since
him
he's
and
been placed
Luter
on
were
IR.
guys that during training camp people really liked. And then I don't know if they went on the short-term IR or whatever. And I believe Luter has been up for a game or two as a special teams guy. But, yeah, not a lot. I mean, they don't have many options. It's a league full of wide receivers and a bunch of guys who can't cover these wide receivers.
Maybe we get Croc. We were talking
That's
about
not
guests.
exclusive just to the Niners.
We're talking about guests. Maybe we get Crocker on later in the week and talk about the coverages, what he's seeing, how different the scheme is from this year to last year to the year before. Because I thought, Shanahan, we had Crocker on. He said, man, he's the defense coordinator. Wilkes is running Shanahan's defense. So how different is this defense? You know what I'm saying? I'm a little confused here. Well, is it Shanahan's defense?
There's a lot of finger pointing. We can agree.
There's a lot of blame game, and it's all going on Wilkes, and that's not fair.
Well, that's
I don't think Wilkes has been great, but that's not fair.
Well, and that's kind of why I like the acquisition of Chase Young, because to me, it's like, all right, I bolstered your defensive line. I've given you reinforcements. We've given you the highest paid free agent back-to-back years, a corner and a D tackle. I gave you Nick Bosa. You got Armstead. You got enough players. You got the highest paid middle linebacker in the game a couple years ago in Fred Warner. I've given you Dre Greenlaw. I've given you 2 safeties. You have a drafted safety. To me, there's enough personnel on defense. Someone's got to figure it out. Whether it's the players, the coordinators, there's really no excuses.
And really, the first 5 weeks of the season, defense wasn't a problem. And really, in the Cleveland game, that was the first time the defense slipped, but it was the first game without Drake.
The quarterback was running around.
There was no Drake Greenlaw.
Plays,
there was no Drake Greenlaw.
No.
I thought Cleveland's offensive line dominated a football game.
They got 2 turnovers in that game too. The offense didn't. The offense was that game in particular. The offense was really bad.
Yeah, they had
that was the worst Brock game of the 3.
They had 8 3-and-outs in that game.
Yeah,
but yet we're still blaming the defense for the Cleveland game. Now I get we're hyper focused on the big play before halftime. That was a terrible play call by Steve Wilkes. Terrible. You don't do that. Sitting a 0 blitz with 16 seconds left. Team doesn't have a timeout. What the hell are you doing? You've been in the league way too long to do something like that. But that's not why they lost the Minnesota game. No. It's not. Well, Brock threw 2 picks in the fourth quarter. All right? He threw 2 picks. And the defense, even though they bent. It was a 17-10 game going into the fourth quarter. Am I wrong?
You know what? I'm glad you broke this up. So after they got a field goal, the Niners get the ball. They end up punting. The defense holds them, okay? Then, boom, the Niners offense gets the ball back. They march on down, and Purdy throws the interception in the red zone. And you know what the Niners do again on defense? They hold them.
Yeah.
They hold them twice. So, and again, there's only like 8 to 11, 12 possessions in a game, but they hold them back-to-back plays, okay? And then Purdy gets intercepted on the second one, and then the very next play was a touchdown. That was when they broke. But they did get back-to-back stops when it was a 7-point game. Now, I expect more than just back-to-back stops, but we're acting like they got gashed in the second half. First half, I'll hear you. Second half, they got a couple stops.
I mean, the Dallas Cowboys just lit up the L.A. Rams, and the Niners held that Cowboys team to 10 points. And the Cowboys put an emphasis on that football game.
I agree.
So is it all Wilkes? Is he really that bad?
The matchup against Cincinnati, too, I think, the way I look at the Rams, teams that could spread you out and go 3. Like, I don't think Miami's a tough matchup, even though we've beaten Miami. Teams that can go spread you out with 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receiver sets, I think those are the teams I worry about. That's why I worry about Philly, because Philly can spread you out and still run the ball. Philly can spread you out and throw to A.J. Brown.
But it was a bad spot, I think, for the Niners. Short week, Monday Night Football, got to fly back from Minnesota. Cincinnati's hungry, coming off a bye week.
Yeah, it's a good
just
point.
A bad spot. The Niners were in a fog.